Ladies and gentlemen, before I pass the mic to our speaker, Professor Dr. Ramli Nazir. Okay, let me give a short brief of his amazing background. Okay. Our speaker, Professor Senior Dr. Ramli Nazir, is a lecturer and honorary fellow geotrophy in Department of Geotechnic and Transportation, Faculty of Engineering at University of Malaysia, UTHM. Located in Sekolah, Prof. Yeah. Okay. Let's move to his academic background. Okay, Prof. Ramli has graduated in his bachelor degree of civil engineering at UTM, and he earned his PhD in civil engineering at one of university in United Kingdom. Prof, as I read your academic background, there is no master's study recorded. So it means that you are doing fast track PhD or what?
I did my master. Actually, I did my master by research for 2 years. But after 1 year presentation, they transfer my master to PhD, and then I complete my PhD in 1.5 years.
Okay, that's so great to know that. Okay. And I read his background, and he is Prof. Ramli also involved in geotechnical engineering, and he is also a geotechnical specialist advisor for government agency. So this is so great to know that. So okay, if anyone here in this room has a similar research interest with Prof, I think maybe after this you all can personally contact him for maybe research advice, or for maybe networking, or for maybe to widen your connections. Is it okay, Prof, if anyone here after this will contact you personally for yeah, okay, so that's great. So please take this opportunity, get this opportunity, and you can contact her and contact him, since he gave you a green light already. So please take this opportunity, right? Okay. Before that, okay. Without any delay, I would like to welcome our beloved speaker, Professor IR, Dr. Ramli Nazir, to share all the tips regarding how to be smart and graduate on time. Okay, Prof, kita silakan. Terima kasih.
Macam mana kan? Beliau tengok balik ni kapal.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. Thank you, Dr. Dayang, Prof. Adnan, for inviting me to share some of part of my life of studying. It's actually what you have heard is only part of my journey of education, starting from the university. But beforehand or before that, nobody knows about that. So only my mother, my late mother knows about it. Okay. Now, I'm not talking about graduating on time first, but we go along the way where we can, or we are supposed to have graduated on time during our studies. So I was born in Guam, 1961, so about 62 years ago. So I've already retired from UTM, but unfortunately, I was being called back to train some of the staff beginning last year. And also at the moment, I'm the adjunct professor to the Parayangan University in Bandung. So whoever knows Professor Paulus Rahayu, so I'm with him in Parayangan University, and we do a lot of studies on geotechnical. So it's a very significant figures in Indonesia. But now, I was born in 61, which is about 62 years ago. And my education, my primary education, I changed schools 6 times, from standard 1 to standard 6, because my father was an army, right? So From standard 1, I was in Muar. Standard 2, I was in Colombo. Standard 3, I was in Perak. Standard 4, standard 3, I was in Perak. Standard 4, I was in Penang. Standard 5, I was in Port Dickson. Standard 6, I was in Muar back. And then after that, Form 1 up to Form 6, I was in Muar. Then I admit into UTHM, doing my diploma of engineering, diploma of civil engineering from 80 to 83. Okay, from 80 to 83. I think some of you was not born yet at that time, right? So my first education in as a diploma in university, I didn't do so well. I didn't read so well. My best result is C. C, D. My strong academics is E, push up, pass. Okay, so I'm not very good in strong academics. I have no passion in strong academics at all. So my background is on geotechnics. But after I did my first degree, I pursued my study and did my first degree back in 86. So I was in JKR from 83 to 86. Then
Sorry, tak dengar lah.
21. Normally you carry only 18, but carry it to 21 because I have a family and every week I have to go back. Right, so I have to make sure my degree will be we don't have any problem. So no extension or no whatever. So I complete in 2.5 years. 2.5 years, degree. And then after I joined UTM, I didn't go back to JKR because at that time it was the recession. And then there are so many degree holders who's holding a post as the technical assistant. So I got an offer from UTM. So I went to UTM, joined UTM in 89. And then by 1991, I pursued my master degree, okay, by mistake in Liverpool. So at that time I did my master. It was 2 years of course. So after first year, we have what we call the presentation of our work, whereby it holds the presentation, whereby I was sponsored by Buffer Betty doing their works on what we call the short pulse. Especially on electrification countries. So we did that. I did with Dr. Dikit. This time, Dr. Dikit was not professor after all. So, but he's a very experienced person. And I did that. So after the first year, we got the findings and also we got the formulation on how to solve the problems of electrification countries foundation. So that solved the problems of my sponsor, the Buffer Betty. So from that, they transfer my master program to a PhD program. So within 1.5 years, I complete the PhD program. After that, I stay and teach in Liverpool for 1 year without letting know UTM that I already completed my PhD. So I got 2 salary. One is allowance for student, another one is salary from the university. Yeah. So after that, hopefully JPA didn't hear this. JPA didn't hear it. They asked me to back company. So by 1992, I registered 91. By 93, mid 93, I completed my PhD. And after that, 94, I came back after 1 year teaching in Liverpool. So they gave me option whether I want to stay in Liverpool as a lecturer or I'm going back to Malaysia. But as a family matter, so I just go back to Malaysia in 94. So I think I made a right decision at that time, without staying in Liverpool. So many of my friends who is a lecturer now, still in UK, right? So I think I make much better than they are. So I make a right decision to come back. So it's actually a family matters. So by the time in '94 when I came back, so when the first day I stepped into the office, so everybody was saying, why you come back so fast? Because everybody come back for PhD for 5 years, but I came back for 3 years. So why you come back so fast? I said, I've already completed my PhD. Betul ke? So they retain my PhD. They don't trust that I really got my PhD. So they retain my PhD from July until December. They just wanted to wait for the convocation, whether my name is in the convocation or not. You see, people don't believe that. So at that time, JPA was giving a scholarship for 5 years to the any SLAB staff, any staff giving PhD for 5 years. So when I complete for 3 years, the next year the regulation has changed from 5 years to 3 years plus 1 year. So I think I've made a mistake there. I shouldn't come back at 3 years. I should come back at 5 years. So nyaya kawan-kawan yang kemudian lah. So that's the first case yang buat, and I think there's about salary and so on. There's another case, so I don't want to tell about this. Alright, now I just want to talk about to graduate on time. Be smart. It's actually that I'm not that smart. Okay, I'm not that smart actually. So it's not about genius. It's not about genius. It's about how you manage your time and how you can control the situation. Now that is very important. So for me, the first thing is that you have to make sure, if you are a family man, you have to make sure that your family is okay first. Don't say that your family will disrupt your study. No, they will give you support on your studies. Alright. So when I did my PhD, I have 4 children, and I've sent them to school every day from 9 morning and 3:30. I'll take them back from school. And then I did my study, partly in the office from 9 to 3, come back home and continue my study at home until midnight. And then that is my daily program. That is my daily program. But I keep track on time. I keep track on time, and I do not tolerate the time. Okay? Because time for me is important. Once you have already missed out 1 hour, you cannot get back 1 hour. That is very important. Okay? Now, if you look at the reality of life, now, kita tengok kenyataan hidup ni. Now, do you think everybody is not given the same opportunity as a human being? So everybody is being given an opportunity. So how you use that opportunities, now that's different from each of you. Okay. So the most important thing is that we never let go our opportunities. So once we have that opportunities, now that's it. Okay, it will never come again. Okay, so we grab the opportunities. So if you think that the successful of life is about money, it's about money, then be a businessman. Stop studying. So when you complete your study in secondary, you can go for business. So nowadays there are many youngsters driving a Porsche, driving Lamborghini, everything just by direct selling. That is how they want to make money. So this is a rich person without a brain. Okay, so you can see inside social media all those funny things that they did. They think they are very rich, they show off everything. Now that is if you want to have the money. So your currency is dollar, ringgit. Kalau you punya currency ringgit, go ahead with that. Or if you want to be clever or smart, then be academician. So sometimes people say, academician, you are not rich, tak kaya pun. Saya academician, belajar tinggi-tinggi pun tak ada kerja. No, that is a passion of human being. You want to get clever, be an academician. Alright? Now, if you want to get respectful, be a politician. Okay? Right? For politician, they have their own mathematics. 1 plus 1. How much do you want? That's Is it? So we as an academician, 1 plus 1 is 2. Right? The rich businessman, 1 plus 1 is not 2. Maybe 1,000. Right? So this is a mathematics of life. How you want to see yourself in future. Okay? So if you think that by doing your postgraduate, by doing your money, you can be a millionaire, forget about it. Forget about it. Okay? Until now, I'm not a millionaire. I'm not a millionaire until now. So if my PhD costs me every month, the government pay me 1 or 2 million, I'm a rich man now. But normally, that's it. So we want to be a high achiever. If you ask anybody, if you ask a small kids, if you ask a small children, what do they want to be when they get older? So definitely a high achiever. I want to be a doctor. I want to be an engineer. I want to be a businessman. So these are all high achievers. So this is their ambition. Everybody have that ambition, but why did they fail? So that is the question. So now, what is the currency of success? So what is the currency of success now? You have your PhD. Do you think that you success? You have millions in your account. Do you think that you are success? And also, if you think that you are a prime minister, do you think that you are a successful person? So that is not the measurement. So success is about your passion, how you achieve your passion. Similar in academics world, how you achieve your master degree, how you achieve your PhD. Alright? So if you want to achieve something, it's not a straight line. So this is what you plan. Right? After all, this is what happened. You're going haywire. You don't know where you are. Right? I just talked to and Prof. Anand just now during our coffee break. Okay? Our PhD. So I said PhD is like closing your eyes and run as fast as you can. It doesn't matter what in front of you. Left, tree, or whatever, you do because you can't see. Alright? But after sometimes you open your eyes, then you know where is your direction. Then you have to retract back your direction. So as simple as that. That is the analogy of your journey in your academics. So this is what happens. You go everywhere. Right? You plan from here to here is very linear. And so you can extrapolate what is going to happen in future. But that's not the thing. Now this is your undergraduate, the first year, you are very smart, full of hair. Right? After you graduate, some of you lose your hair. Right? Okay. And postgraduate, you have already worked after you have graduated from postgraduate. So you are like, very rooster, a very nice rooster with a smooth fur and so on. But in the final semester, this is what you're going to be. Right? Okay? So this is how you are getting from here to here. But make sure, whenever you are early semester, final semester, you should be like this. Okay? Even though in your undergraduate studies. Now, when we talk about postgraduate, now we talk about research. So most of students want to do research. You know why? Because they are thinking that doing research is simple. Nobody will chase you. Nobody will dictate you when to come to the class, when to do your homework, when to do your assignment, and so on. So most of the students who wanted to do research, who wanted to do their postgraduate study in terms of research, they don't want to do by course. Because for them, by course, you are being dictated to come to the class, to do your assignment, to submit your assignment, to do your homework, and then to sit for your exam. But research is very simple. You come to the lab, sit down, take a break, take a coffee, and then watch your YouTube or answering your message. Okay, time's up, 4 o'clock, you go back. Nothing. Zero. So it's not that simple, it's doing research. Well, it's not that simple to do a research. Because you have a lot of tasks to do in your research, and you are not being controlled. It is your self-discipline. Okay, it is your self-discipline to do the work. You need to know what is your objective. You need to know what is your reason for that. Okay, and the most important thing is your self-discipline and your time management. It's not about rocket science. Research. Your research in academic world or in academic for you to do your master or your PhD is not about rocket science. It's a first step of learning how to solve the problems. That's it. So if your supervisor, I'm telling the supervisor, if your supervisor is giving a lot of things which they themselves don't understand, there's something wrong. Because you have your time limitation. Okay, you have your time limitation. Okay, or if you are not ready for that, you are wrong. Supervisor won't chase you. Those who chase you, they are very hardworking. They wanted to make sure that you are succeeded, you will be succeeded in your achievement. I never chase. My student always chase me. I always run away. But I don't have time. I don't have time, so I leave it to them alone. Think, because this is your PhD. When you graduate, your name will be called on the stage. It's not your supervisor. Your supervisor won't sit under your rope on the stage. Okay, you'll be alone. So it's your work. You have to be hardworking. Your supervisor has a lot of other students and a lot of other things to do. But they will guide you. This is the most important thing. They will guide you on that. So when we talk about research, now what is research actually? Research is something which is illogical. Illogical. When you first come out with your title, you think that people believe on your title. Let's say you want to have what do you call it? Okay, let's say we have some research, something to do on foundationless bridge. A bridge without foundation. Do you think people believe? Nobody will believe because it's illogical. Now you have to do the research for that. You have to prove that the foundationless bridge is reality. Okay, how you want to do that? Then you have to ask about what is the problem statement. What is your problem statement there? You have to ask yourself. Now, if the foundation without a bridge, how can it stand? Now, how can you prove that? That is where your objective comes in. When objective comes in, then what is the significance of your research? Or you cut a lot of costs. That is your significance of research. And then you do the literature study. Now, literature study must be related with your topic. Okay? And then you have your words. And then you have your results. And then you have your discussion. Now, if it doesn't fit with your title, then you can just change a passive word into active word. It's just like Edison, Thomas Edison. When he tests 1,000 elements on the filaments, it fails. 999, it fails. Only one, the tungsten. Now that is okay. So in his report, he's saying that he has already found 999 element which is not suitable for a lamp filament. That's it. So it's not about getting your answer correct, it's how you justify your answer. So if I were to say that when you do your test on your bridge without foundation, now you prove it that it needs a foundation. Now your conclusion is that foundationless is not possible. Is that? But something which is you can conclude your research. So that's why I said research is illogical. That's something we sometimes people seems that it doesn't work. So ini kadang-kadang saya I'm sorry, I talk mix Malay and English. So especially when it comes to apa ni research application. So sometimes I wonder what is in the mind of the punya panel. Kadang-kadang dia yang kata, oh ni tak boleh, tak cukup, tak kira. Does he know about this research? When he comment on that. So kita kalau jadi panel, if we are a panel, we think about that. We think about the other way around. What does he think and what does he want to come up with? So kadang-kadang saya being a panel, some of the panel saya marah juga. Saya kata, you shouldn't ask that because we don't know what's the outcome from here. And you already know the outcome, so that's not the research. Kan? So, the most important thing about research is systematic inquiry, which entails the collection of data. How we collect our data and so on. So, normally it comprises of creativity and also systematic work to increase the stock of knowledge. So, it's meant in research you have to be very creative. You have to be very creative. Okay? So these are the basic things. Knowledge and creativity is very important if you do your research, especially in the postgraduate studies. Okay? So if every day you come into your supervisor room, and whatever he said, you just swallow, I think that's not creative. Okay? It's a wrong way of how we do our study. So it's the best thing is that we can communicate with the supervisor. Put in some creativity in the works. Okay, communicate with supervisor. So never ever swallow whatever is being given to you. You need to have a critical mind on that. Okay, yang ni yang kadang-kadang susah nak cakap. Sometimes the students are very afraid of supervisors sebab takut fail. Because fail. I think my student never afraid of me. My student never afraid of me. Ketawa lagi ada. Because I give them freedom to think. So whatever things that you have, any new things that you have, discuss. Okay? If you don't agree with what I'm saying, it's okay. So we celebrate a different mindset. That's it. Kita meraihkan perbezaan. That's it. So it doesn't mean that what I say is right. Even though today, it doesn't mean that what I say, everything here is right. No. Sometimes you might have your own creativity way. It depends. Okay? So that's why when we say about research, it's actually the opportunity, the ideas, learning, development, innovation, experience, curiosity, and growth. So these are what we call as a research. Okay? Right? So what are the type of research that you did? Okay, scientific research, art research, documentary research, historical research. So in order to do research, then we need to learn. So how do you learn? So that's why there is a literature review. Do your literature review. From there you learn. And how you get your literature review? Have you ever heard about snowball effect or snowball method? Know about snowball method? From a small snowball, you roll until you get a bigger snowball. So it means that you find one relevant paper and then start looking for the references. So these are very important. So if you don't have literature, nowadays it's very simple. Everything, all the literatures is within your finger. You can find in Google search. I think when I did my PhD, I have to travel to London to find the original book of ranking in London. Original book or publication of previous research work. So we have to find there, or sometimes we have to order the publication to get. So it takes quite some time. But now everything is within our finger. So these are the research process. identify problem, evaluate literature, create hypothesis, research design. Then we describe population or data collection, data analysis, report writing, and so on. So these are the process that you have to go through. Okay. So now we talk about research. So you know what is about research. So don't take for granted. Okay, when you do your research, don't take for granted. So you think that, oh, everything will be given by the supervisor. No, the supervisor has no time for that. So you are the one who have to do the work because it's your degree. Now, when you postgraduate study, now you have to ask yourself why. Why you want to do postgraduate studies? Some of them say, oh, there's no job outside, so I just continue my study. Okay, some of them say, oh, I have to do my study because I was forced to, especially an academician. You are forced to do your PhD, you are forced to do your master. Alright. And sometimes for the student, okay, since there is no job outside, now you just pursue your study. But seldom have a passion on that. You need to have a passion on that. So whether you want to have your postgraduate study, you want to have your title precede your name or extension of your name. Sebab kadang-kadang ni Malaysia ni they like title before abbreviation before their name. IRDR lagi apa? TS lagi? Chemist. Apa nak lagi? Semua ada. Macam saya lah, nama saya Ramli. When it comes to official, orang kata professor, engineer, doktor, haji, Ramli. Ramli pendek je my name. You call me Ramli je cukup. So these are what people want to have. Title basic itu yang banyak PhD, yang tak ada PhD pakai doktor lah, lepas tu boleh cabut lah apa benda semua kan. So all this, they like that. I don't know why. Because maybe it looks what has the prestigious. Okay. I don't know people doing their PhD, like I show you just now, like apa tu? Macam ayam yang jantan hilang bulu so that is and then people suddenly use the name using PhD apa semua is quite itu juga lah. Now, you're asking to do a fulfill job requirements, whether macam kita as an academician, you need to have your master, you need to have your PhD for you to be promoted, or to elevate your status in the society. Macam saya, I don't talk about my younger age. Last time I always tell this to my friend. Saya zaman sekolah dulu ngurat anak orang tak beri. Kan, tak ada, no future. Balik sekolah duduk tembok isap rokok, pergi ngurat anak orang, bapak datang marah kan, ngurat anak dia kata ngurat anak dia bukan marah. So that was me. So but now when I go back to my home, kalau pergi surau, pergi masjid tu tolak jadi imam depan kan. So saya the status, the level of status dia tak ingatlah dulu macam mana dia buat kita Right. Now following your friend, okay? Ini dulu saya, bila sambung belajar dulu when I did my diploma, I don't know what is civil engineering actually. Kebetulan member sebelah, kau minta apa? Kejuruteraan awam, minta kejuruteraan awam. I know that civil engineering, kejuruteraan awam ni is only construction, buat jalan, itu civil. I don't know, there's a lot of bidang, a lot of disciplines in civil engineering. Okay? Or ambition to pursue your study to the highest level. This is my ambition to pursue my study to highest level, my PhD. Why? It's because of my children. If I did my PhD, my children won't pass me. The best level is PhD. Right? So that's it. That is the academic highest level. So if I were to say to my children, I can do my PhD when you were born, so why now can't you do your PhD? That is my ambition when I did my PhD. And just for fun, it's quite difficult. Sometimes people just do for fun. Just do for fun. After 1 year, then they change to other university, do PhD, just for fun, and keep on changing. So when you see that the first step is always the hardest. So the first step of you doing is just like when I told you, it's about keeping you blind and ask you to run in a direction. So you go haywire. You start hitting post, tree, everything, whatever in front of you, you start hitting. So that is the hardest part. So once you know that, when you open your eyes, then you know what is your direction. Okay, so the rest is very simple. Okay, so what is your reason? So reason to push yourself higher limit, then head on with challenges. So sometimes you like challenges. Why I did geotechnique? Because it is very challenging for me. Yeah, I didn't do structure. Why? Because for me it's very, not to say simple, but there's no challenging. You just calculate your shear diagram, you just do your diagram, you do your moment diagram, and then you know what is your size of reinforcement. Let's say concrete 30, 40, 45. So yeah, so you are. Might be have a lot of ideas, but for me, it's for me. I look now doing environmental. Talking about leachate or this, I don't see any problem. Now, if your output, if your product is filthy, then it will come out as a filthy element. Then how you want to clean? So you know what is your BOD, your COD, or whatever things that OD come out. And I think 5D, I get BOD hydroxide. No, BOD hydroxide. BOD, what is hydroxide? OH. So I feel something like that. I'm getting BOD hydroxide. Okay? Right, so now when I look into geotechnical engineering, now I feel it's very challenging. Challenge, you know why? Because when you study geotechnical engineering, it's like you are studying human being. You are studying human being. Allah jadikan manusia daripada tanah. Tanah ni macam-macam ragam, macam-macam behavior. You have the same parameters but different behavior. Now, to what we call to anticipate the behavior of human being, now that is very challenging. Okay? Now, even though you have been married for more than 30 years, but you still don't understand your wife. You still don't understand your wife. I tell you, if you understand your wife, then you will try to find another one that you don't understand. That is human challenge. Right? So make sure, wife, don't let your husband understand you. Because if they understand you, then they start wondering. Another one. Okay? That's what I like about geotechnique. That's what I like about geotechnique. Okay. So I think it's the thirst of knowledge. Once you have your whatever achievement that you have, then you start thirsting of knowledge and start trying to find and look for new things and so on. And then you have to build up your self-confidence, self-discipline, and also esteem. So we have a reason to qualify to pursue for postgraduate studies. So study is not something that you just pass by and grab. No, it's a passion, and also it's a systematic way of how you want to attain your achievement. Okay. Now, what are we thinking now? What are you thinking? Okay. When you do your postgraduate degree, the first day you register, what are you thinking? Apa yang dipikir? We register, we do our PhD. In 2 years time, 3 years time, we graduate our PhD. Now that is our plan, straight line. So during that 1 to 3 years, you have a lot of things coming in. And then it start to drag, retard all your ambition. Okay. Alright. So I tell you, postgraduate studies, whether you do your PhD or master by research, is not about noble science. You are not building a rocket. You are just studying to improve the knowledge, to expand the frontier of knowledge. That's it. Okay, so once, what is your frontier of knowledge? Now your findings. Huh? If you have one or two findings, that's good enough. You don't have to find so many findings. Let other people find. Huh? Give a chance to other people to do their PhD. Okay? And then we improve our ability to understand and solve problems systematically. So this is where you increase your confidence. Okay? And we make ourselves a better communicators, and we gain skill that will lead to better futures. So after all, we have limited time of our study. You do your PhD in 3 years, minimum 3 years, maximum 5 years. Maximum how many years? 7 years. Are you going to use your whole 7 years for your study? Alright. So saya biasanya, if my PhD student have already exceed 4 years, I will ask him, are you interested or you are not interested? So if you are interested, then make sure you succeed. If you're not interested, by all means, just send a letter of resignation. That's it. I don't want to push you. I don't want to change you. Okay, I don't want you to be old doing your PhD. Now, I have one of my PhD students who is now 69 years old. It's been 4 semesters, 2 years with me. So I'm going to graduate him end of this year. You know what I told him? It might be a bit harsh, but I told him, don't die before you finish your PhD. I told him, don't die before you finish your PhD. Okay, now, that's what Einstein said. He's not smart. He just stay with problems longer. So it means persistence is very important. So you work hard. So it beats a talent that doesn't work hard. So you work hard, that beats being smart. And you work smart for working hard. So this is what I want to share with you about working smart. Now this is your brain. You're short-sighted, you're long-sighted. So your short-sighted will be your left brain function. So this is about calculation, about analytical, about formulations, the quantitative analysis. So this is look on the short-sighted, on your left brain. Now your right brain is a long-sighted. It has no boundary. Your imagination, so that is the right brain function. So it is a holistic thought, intuition, creativity, art, and music. So we have to work both on this. Now, how to make sure that both of this brain works? So that's why you have to have some anticipation, imagination that will look on the long side, which is on the right brain, and you have to have a very sound knowledge on quantitative, quantify the problem, right? So once you have that, okay, you need practice. Once you have that, then you are on the right track. So this is what between the minds. Now we have an ongoing taxonomy of team dynamics between minds, the left brain and the right brain. So it works together, right? So this is what we have to use. We have to use both sides of our brain, especially when we do the research, the quantitative side and also the imaginary side. So I know most of the science students are very weak in right brain. Because we are trained on our left side, trained to calculate, trained to do analysis and so on. But when it comes to imagination, it's very weak. Because when I mentioned to you about, I'm a geotechnical person, I mentioned to you about stress. What is stress? We don't have any stress meters. We can only calculate train to obtain our stress. Okay? So it's an imaginary, the right brain. So you have to know, when people say about 30 kilopascal stress, how heavy it is, how you want to quantify that 30 kilopascal. Now you have to imagine. So when people say, okay, this stress is about 60 kPa, or it's too high, we have to reduce it. Right. So this is your right brain function. How you have to imagine. What's the weight? What are the things that you do? And on this right brain is normally what you feel. It's all what you feel. Your intuitive. Okay, it's your intuitive. Now, if you were to design, let's say you were to design geotechnical. So you say that, stress, this is 150 kilopascal. It's too big. Now we have to reduce it. Now that is your field. Your field. Because as a civil engineer, you can design anything. But if you don't have a field, that is a problem. Okay? So field in your design is very important. So field in your research as well is very important. You have a field, you know, okay, this thing should be in this manner. Because what we expect when we do our research is not about the numbers that we are looking. What we look is the trend in our design. What we look is the trend. Now, if the trend is correct, then our design is correct. Except that if the magnitude is big, then we can refine it. The most important thing is to look at the trend. Now, if you don't know the trend, how can you do the research? How you know that the result is okay or not? So that will be very bad. So it will retard your productivity in your research work. Okay. Now, between research work, between male and female is different. This is what I mentioned to you. Male student, they have only one switch. Yes or no? That's it. Is it work? Yes. Does it work? No. That's it. But for the female student, does it work? Yes, but something like that. Now this will retard your research progress. Okay, so you have a lot of questions to ask. This question, mine is male, very simple. How's it today? Good. Do you do your work? Yes. Right. So it's very simple. But the dangerous thing is that we are looking into the macro part. Our weakness is that we don't look into the micro part. So this is the strength of the female student. They look into the micro part. They look into the micro part. Especially when you do your research. You can see that if the trend is going, let's say it's going down, but there's a bit of stagnant at the end. For us, we can simplify that thing, or just simplify as a smooth line. But for female students, they will keep thinking what is why this thing happen. Small things happen. Okay. So sometimes kadang-kadang kalau kita dapat supervisor perempuan, kadang penat tu. Lelaki dapat supervisor perempuan penat. Perempuan dapat supervisor lelaki seronok. Seronok sebab apa? Tak banyak soal, tak banyak tanya. Kan? Kalau dapat supervisor perempuan, Masya Allah. Kan? Dia punya tanya ngalah punya sikit. Nah, tell you perempuan okay, as a supervisor or student, simplify a bit your life lah. Jangan terlampau detail sangat lah. Kalau detail sangat, because sometimes life need to be simplified. Don't make things complicated. Tapi kalau kita bercerita dengan orang, if we tell people story about our research, make simple thing looks complicated. People get impressed. Kan? Padahal tak apa. Right. So when you are in in your exam or viva ke apa semua, now don't be too simplified. Too simplified, it means that ni kerja tak cukup lagi. You don't have still need to work something on this. So average lah, but don't be too complicated lah. Too complicated, finally you get tangled with your complication. Okay, right. So this is we can harness the weakness and the strength of each student. So please, for supervisors, when you treat male student, you have to know their behavior. When you treat female student, you have to know their behavior. Okay, so jangan treat sama. Oh, student lelaki perempuan sama je, lain. Right? So these are the things yang itu. So most of my student is male student. Sebab saya tak ambil, saya jarang ambil female student. Adalah dalam satu, tapi semua graduate successfully. Satu, siapa lagi satu lah. Ada one student, lecturer UMP, one student, but she graduate 3 years, 3 years. Okay, tapi she's very good, she's very firm, very aggressive, macam lelaki jugalah, buat kerja pun sama juga, alone buat kerja dekat lab, so she's very good. Some of them yang lelaki, my student, dua, tapi seorang perempuan fail because of family matters. So after 4 years, I asked her whether you want to proceed or you want to withdraw. So she said she want to withdraw. Okay, by all means, just withdraw. Yang lelaki seorang meninggal sakit lah, bukan saya kata dia sakit, dia memang ada sakit kan. So yang seorang lagi is actually one of the top gun lah kat Malaysia ni lah kan. So because when you do your study, even though you are high ranking person, you have to do the work on your own. You cannot ask your staff to do for you, you cannot ask someone to do for you because you are the boss. No. So after a few years, when I asked him, he said this is typo by dia punya PA lah tu semua kan. So I said, I think you better withdraw lah, kata kan, because when you do your viva nanti jadi masalah, so just withdraw. So that guy last post sebelum dia retired, he was JBS punya director Selangor, Dato'. So I asked him to just withdraw je lah. So now I learn hard and you learn smart. What is the difference? Okay, I learn hard, you learn smart. I'm working 8 hours a day, but my product is only 10 ringgit. I work 2 hours a day, but my product is 50 ringgit. So that's the difference. So you study from day, night until in the morning, right? Now what you get is only a pinch of the knowledge, whereas when you do your study, only a few hours, but you gain a lot from that. So this is where we have to look our strength. I can make some what we call as example with the elephant. So the question is, you cannot see up there. Now, how do you measure an elephant? How do you measure an elephant? So you keep thinking what to measure, this, measure that, or this to try to measure, and finally you have some difficulties in measure. How you want to measure the elephant? You want to measure the trunk, you want to measure the leg, you want to measure the weight, or what? So you think hard daily to think how to measure the elephant. So for me, if you can't measure, then you don't understand. You don't understand. Okay? Now, it's actually a question regarding politics of numbers. This is the politics of numbers. How you want to measure your elephant? So you look who you are. I'm a zoologist. How I want to measure an elephant? I have to measure the area of the elephant that will consume in a cage. How to find a big size of cage so that it can fit the elephant and have a pleasant place to stay. If I'm a zoologist, because I know who I am. Now, if I'm a transporter, what will I measure? Yes, you measure the weight. Oh, this is 1 ton, so I can use 5 tons lorry to carry this to the zoo. Alright, so you know, alright, so you understand what to measure. Same as research. Yeah, it's same as research. When you do your research, when you register, now, what are you doing? Okay, you are doing geotechnics, or you are doing structures, or you are doing environment. Alright, so you know what's the problem. Now, what is the problem with this guy? Now, how we want to measure that problem? So that should be the first day when you understand your problem. So you only understand your problem at the end of 4th year or 5th year of your study. Then when you want to start. Okay? So what are you doing for the whole first until 4th year? You are not trying to understand. You know what you are doing, but you don't understand how to do it. You don't understand how to measure it. Yeah? So the most important thing is how to measure. Right? So I just give a very simple explanation about the first thing that you need to do when you start doing your research or when you start doing your postgraduate study. Okay? Now the most important thing is to understand. So this is the most important key. This is the key of your problems. You understand what is your problem. So when I did what I did with my graduate student, when they registered to me for the first month, I asked them to find a literature, at least 100 literature, do a review. Relate with what you are doing, do a review study. Make a review paper, go and publish. Right. Okay, so that they will have one review paper complete for their PhD. When they want to graduate, they need to publish. Now that's the paper. Okay, do at the early stage to review. So when you review the study, the thing is that you start to have a critical comment on what they did. Now that is the gap of your study. That is the gap. Because when we look or when we do our research, we are trying to fill in the gap. We are trying to close the gap. So it's just like a torn cloth, and then you start patching here and there. Yeah. So this is a hole here, there is a gap, you patch that. So other holes, forget about it. Don't think about other holes. That is other people's business. Okay? So you find your gap. Now when there is a gap, how you want to find your gap? You have to do a comparison study. You have to compare with the relevant literature. So let's say, okay, these are the assumptions. Now these are the assumptions. These are the assumptions. Because when you do your research work, you have your assumption. In the first stage, you have your assumption. What is your assumption? Okay, your assumption might not be the same as other people's assumption. Right. So the difference between the assumption, that is the gap. Now you have to be very creative how to fit the gap. So that's why I said trend is very important. It's not the numbers. Trend is very important, especially in engineering. Trend is very important. So once you have a trend, you have a similar trend, then you can refine the number. That's it. So if you don't understand with the problem, how do you want to find the gap? Macam mana nak cek gap? You cannot find the gap because you don't understand. Okay. Now these are the things yang sometimes the student, they make their work in the laboratory without knowing what is it for. Then you start trial test. You start doing this test. You start doing this test. You start doing this test. and you know which test is correct. You don't know which test is correct. Okay, so you are wasting time on that. Because it's consumed until you are tired to get what actually do you want. After all, it's only about this thing. It's only about this thing. So that's why when I ask about research students, especially when they are doing modeling, I ask them, do you understand Buckingham Pi theorem? Some of them never heard about it. So how you want to do modeling without knowing Buckingham Pi theorem? This is why you select your parameters so you get on the right track, rather than you go and trial or do your trial test, or you want to do or you go and do trial and error. So that is very bad. It's just a waste of time. Study the Buckingham Pi theorem, how they select the parameters for the test, how they do the dimensional study for the test. Okay, so this is what I did during my research time. I've got a very lucky supervisor. He gave me the notes on Buckingham Pi theorem, and I did the study on Buckingham Pi theorem. So I know what am I going to do the test. So how many tests I did during my PhD time? I did 1,300 tests. But how I did my 1,300 tests? I did supervisor, please listen. How I did 1,300 tests? I don't have time. If I were to do 1,300 tests, one day I can only do 2 tests, so it means that it's going to be 650. So it's going to be how many years? 2 years on testing alone, without a break. How can it be? It's not possible. So what we did was, myself, I'm doing my PhD. Under me, I have 4 master students that I'm looking after. So one of them is doing these parameters, another one is doing parameters, these parameters, and these parameters. Now my undergraduate student, my postgraduate student is having another 4 undergraduate students who's doing all the lab works. So I'm the one who just gather all those information within 3 months. Okay? So you have to work in that way. You have to work in that way. So it might be we have different topics, but we have a similar parameters that we're going to test. So you have to distribute the works, especially if you do physical, because I did for physical modeling. So I'm not talking about numerical modeling. Numerical modeling, at that time, we only use green color computer. So most of them is program writing. We don't have any simulations. So nowadays we have simulations. So that's very, very good about that. You can see how the things look like. So the thing is that when we claim that we study hard, but the truth is that we don't, or we never understood the materials. We never understood the materials. So if we study to understand, we can answer any question on a particular topic. So if we know the fundamentals, if our fundamentals is very strong, then we know what to answer or what to look into. So that's why I mentioned to you, it's not that simple doing research work. Because if you want to do research work, if you want to register as a research student, one thing is that your knowledge, your fundamental knowledge have to be very sound. Your fundamental knowledge have to be very sound. So if you have a so fundamental knowledge, I think better do your postgraduate course, because by that way you are 100% being facilitated by your lecturers rather than your supervisors. Okay, so the supervisor won't have time with you to teach you all those fundamental knowledge, because they assume that you have already got your fundamental knowledge sound. So if you think that you are very weak in fundamentals, just attend the class. That's it. Because most of my PhD students, they attend the fundamental class. I ask them to strengthen their fundamental first. Because from that fundamental knowledge, then you know how to criticize, how to comment on other people's work. And then one thing is that we understand the concept, but not memorizing. Don't memorize. Our brain have a limited size of memory to memorize things. Right? And in fact, myself, I admit that most of the complicated formula in engineering, I never memorize. I have to look on the reference to answer the questions. The only thing which I memorize, you know what, is a lengthy formulation for consolidation settlement. Normal consolidation settlement. It's quite long. CC over 1 plus E naught delta H, log sigma 10, and then log 10 sigma plus delta sigma over sigma over sigma. You know why I memorized until now? Because at that time when I was in third year diploma final exam, I get caught. I get caught of writing formula on my hand. Right? At that time, everything was you have to memorize. So when I was a lecturer, so the first thing I do was to orang kata pemutihan, to legally bring in the formula. Student can bring in formula, whatever they write on a piece of A4 paper, front and back. I have to specify A4 paper. If I don't specify, then they bring AO paper. Quite long, not enough for the table. Alright, so you can write any formula you want. You can write any notes you want. Because when you are an engineer or when you work, your boss always asks you to do work, but you can copy anything, no problem. So it's not school. It's not in school that you have to memorize everything. Okay, as an engineer, you cannot memorize everything. So especially the sound mechanic. You know, at that time, in the morning, I have exam on hydraulics. In the afternoon, I have exam on geotechnics. At that time, it's not geotechnic, it's sound mechanic. No geotechnic at that time. So I always mix up a formula for hydraulics and sound mechanics. So especially when consolidation, tak pakai pun, actually tak pakai pun. Kita spot question kan, we spot the question kan, so we start writing a formula. So I told my student, don't ever write or dirty your hand with a formula. All techniques I know. All techniques I know. Dulu ada pen putih, tulis kertas dalam tu, tulis formula, selit masuk dalam tu. Yang perempuan tulis belakang tudung. Yang tulis kat jari yang cerita lah kan. Yang tulis kat sini kan. Itu yang cerita I know. Right, so that's why I told my student, okay, you can bring in any formula you want. You can write any notes you want. I don't mind. Tapi question dia is not 1 plus 1 is equal to 2 lah. Question is something that you have to think. Okay? Okay, when you do your research work, when you do your your postgraduate research work, now what you have to do is that you have to begin with N in mind. So bila begin with N in mind, what does it mean? It means you have to strengthen your hypothesis. Strengthen your hypothesis. Okay? Then you know the direction. Okay? Now, let's say you want to work with what? You want to work with pit kata peranan, pit So what is the hypothesis? Kalau student ni biasa nak buat, what is the hypothesis? Might be hypothesis ni how we can use how we can improvise the pit using katakan material, let's say we use gypsum, let's say. Now we know that hypothesis gypsum, we don't know what's the result to come up, but we know that this gypsum can strengthen the pit, can strengthen the shear strength of the pit. Okay? Then we know our direction. This is our direction. So we have our objective. We have the significance of study. So whether our hypothesis will be positive or negative, it doesn't matter so much. Because that is your hypothesis. So kadang-kadang, sometimes the student, whatever hypothesis it is, then the result will be the hypothesis. No. Kalau macam itu, better don't do your research lah. You know the hypothesis is right, then what's the point of doing your research? So that's why this is what you have end in mind. You anticipate. Okay? You anticipate. Alright? So this is an art. The anticipation is an art in research work. Dia macam bomoh lah. Senang cerita. When we do our research work, we are like shaman. We like a bomoh. You know what is going to happen. The first thing the client step on the door, don't tell me anything. I know what you want. Macam itulah. Oh, this is very good. Macam kita lah, technical engineer kan. Datang-datang tengok site, we look at the site of failure. Oh, this is because of shear gini, bla 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 apa semua kan. Research tak buat lagi, apa tak buat lagi, tengok mata je dah kata okay. All these people says, oh ni professor, doktor, engineer. Oh betul lah dia cakap. That's bomoh lah. Alright. So like what I did now I'm doing this batang kali punya forensic. So the family has already asked for the reports. But we still haven't released the report. We're still ongoing with one of my colleagues of doing the works. Okay, they are asking us, and we said, sorry lah, kita bukan bomoh nak cakap-cakap benda semua kan. We have a good results. Even the result pun kadang-kadang kita pun tak tahu, tapi partly cerita betul. What you can see is a true story, and partly is dikayat merumah wangsa kan. We have to, because we want to cover up what is the issue. So it's normal, it's common. Okay. Right, so kita punya hypothesis senang aja. Only God knows what is happening that night. Because it's dark, nobody knows. Only people can hear. We can only imagine what is happening. Only God knows. Tapi dalam report, dia tak nak macam itu. Dia tak nak hanya Allah saja yang mengetahui apa. Lepas tu dia terajang lah. Kan? We cannot do that. We have to have some facts on that. So some facts yang ada with the help of the scientific evidence, data. So the facts yang tak ada, scientific data ni dia macam meja ni lah. This is scientific data. This is hikayat merumah wangsa, mencantikkan data. That's it. Alright. Sama juga macam research. You know everything about the research, but something that you cannot prove, that is intuitive. Now this is the thing that you have to spell out nicely. You have to spell out nicely. Jangan kata tak tahu. Because you are the master of that research. Itu sebab saya kata master of all master ni, master of all master ni is master in geotechnic. Saya bukan nak puji geoteknik, tapi master of all master is master. Because why? Because you call them Master G. Mana ada Raja Master S, kita Master G. We should be very proud of that. So this is master of all master. So malulah kalau kita tak tahu kan. Alright. So kalau you pergi India pun, Namaste, Master G. Master in geotechnic. Okay. Okay, now this is the beginning of with end in mind. You anticipate, you have your hypothesis. Now this is very important. Sometimes we look at the hypothesis, it's not that important, but it is very important for us to give a direction. If you don't have direction where you want to go, this will take a long time for you to search where you want to go. So doing your research work is like walking in a dark tunnel. You are searching for light at the end of tunnel. So you have to anticipate, or you have to do your apa tu kita kata is our journey for this. We have to do our hypothesis. Now, learning smart, it depends on you. It depends on you. Different people have different kinds of learning. Okay? When I did my PhD, most of my colleagues, they said, what am I doing in UK? I keep on going to Scotland, going to Europe, buat PhD, and then suddenly after 3 years, complete. Macam mana ni Rafiq belajar ni? Kan? Pelik. Nothing to pelik about. So some people, they have their strength, they know their strength, that they can do. Tak ada masalah. Okay. How to learn smart? The first thing, identify yourself. You identify yourself. You are the person who only know yourself. Other people don't know. Sometimes you are a visual learner. What is visual learners? Orang kata kamera. Duduk dalam lecture, tengok aja. Okay. This visual learner. Ada yang tengok aja, tak ada apa. Right. I admit that I'm a visual learner. I just bring one piece of paper during my lecture. That's it. Whatever the lecture said. Tapi camera or visual learner, one thing is that you have to be very fast. Whatever things you learn, when you go back, start writing, because when you write, you remember more. That is a visual learner. Visual learner ni bukan orang tengok aja kan. Lepas tu balik dah, tahu apa. After some time, lost. You know, when I did my first degree, 1 week before exam, saya pergi tengok morning show, afternoon show, midnight show. Hari-hari. Cerita Hindustan, cerita India, cerita China, habis saya tengok. Dah tak tahu benda nak buat. Because I don't want any new things to interrupt my mind. Kalau zaman diploma dulu, dah tulis dekat sini kan, tapi duduk dekat pintu exam kan, tak cakap, diam je. Buka pintu kebut masuk sampai jatuh meja. Sebab apa? Sebab nak tulis atas kertas tu cepat-cepat. Right? Sebab nak tulis atas tu cepat-cepat. Ini perangai biasa lah. But when I did my degree a very systematic way, okay, whatever I did during my study, and then we got a tutorial paper, solve the tutorial paper, masukkan dalam file. That's it. 2 weeks before exam, run through. 1 week before exam, pergi tengok morning show. KL kan, masa tu kan. Morning show, afternoon show, night show. Semua tengok masa tu. Orang sibuk dekat library. During that last week, dekat library tu penuh. Sampai tak ada meja. Apa dia ingat dia boleh dapat A semua. Kan? So we don't know. Sometimes kadang-kadang orang yang huha sana kemari, at least ada one the scorer. Kan? And then don't play, don't be so, orang kata orang kata so surprised. Because these are the person yang biasanya gitu. So if you are a visual learner, so then give them hands-on demo, graph, chart and creative project. So this, if the student, you identify the student, and you yourself, you identify yourself. Now if you are a visual learner, then this is what you have to do. Now if you are kinesthetic learners, now this one should include hands-on demos and offers. So kinesthetic ni something macam kalau kata if a student, so they have to write, they have to macam-macam lah. So that is kinesthetic learner. Now if you are social learners, now social learners ni you have to group study. You have to in a group study. So if you are more effective in that, then that will be very good. So I visual learner dengan social learner. Because I like to be in a group to study. And if you are auditory learners, then wrapping up your information up in a good fun story is a good way to provide kids with association of important details. So if you are very good in listening, then that's it. Tapi a person cannot do two things at the same time. Menulis, tengok. That's why in my class, I give them early notes, baca, faham, and then in my class, don't write a note, sit down and relax. Tengok dekat depan. They have already got the question. If you are not ready with that, tu nasib lah. Siapa? Alright? Because in the class, we don't want the student to write and then Prof, jangan padam dulu, jangan padam. Padam juga budak ni kan. Okay, they disrupt you, right? So that's it. That's how sometimes we have to identify the student, or the student have to identify themselves what is their strength in their studies. What is their strength in their studies? Okay, another thing is the mobilization. Now, if you are visual learning, you incorporate pictures and diagrams. So if you are easily distracted, then take breaks during the study session and re-energize. Okay, ni orang kata work without play, make Jack a dull boy. So if you learn quickly from someone else, then join a study group. Okay. Okay, another thing is review. Okay, when you do your work, you have to review often. When you do your research work, you have to review often. So we develop a study timetable, never cram till the last minute. A review often may refresh our mind. We have a break, and then feeding the brain too much information will cause congestion. So if you fill up everything, then you will be congested. Okay, resume and repeat. So this is why we have to review whatever things that we learn. Okay, and I think it's use different materials, right? Use different materials. You have to use different literature or different references. So from there, you can make a comparison of your study, and you can have your critical comment on your study. Okay. Now, what matters when we give, then we'll gain more. What are the things that when we give, we will gain more? Okay. You have 100 ringgit, you give people's 10 ringgit, you have left with 90 ringgit. But one thing is about knowledge. It's about knowledge. You give one, you get 10. Because that's why, for me, it's very important for group study. So that's why what's the purpose of the postgraduate school putting one postgraduate rooms. So it is for you to discuss, for you to share knowledge and so on. Because when you have a knowledge for you to share, then you gain more knowledge on that. So how you want to share, or how do you want to gain your knowledge, right? So you have to teach someone. You have to teach someone. Okay. So in that field, so even though your postgraduate members, so at least you have some colloquiums to discuss your research work. Please discuss about your research work. Even though you have a different topics, but as a matter of fact, to explain or to give explanation to others, it will help you to understand more better. Okay, you understand more better, and you will share your knowledge, and you have some comments on your colleagues. Okay, so that is very important. I've tried this. Especially with my students. I tried this with my students, and they gain more understanding on what they are doing. Because when you want to teach someone, you have to prepare. Okay, when you have to prepare, you have to read. So this reading will force you to understand what you are doing. Okay, why it doesn't matter. Or it might be 3 or 4 members. You can give some colloquium for 2 hours or 1 hour talking about your research, what you have found so far. Where are you going to? It might be some of your friends might give some ideas. So okay, what about this? How about this? How about that? That's a very good discussion. Okay. Alright, so these are the things which I saw lack in our postgraduate student. Try to cope up with what we call as the colloquiums to present what is the research that they are, what is the finding or what is the progress of the research. The only thing is that we hope only for postgraduate students to do evaluation or assessment. So this is where the student will start to prepare and all sort of thing. It might be after one semester, after how many years you have studied here, then you start preparing to present what is the progress of the report. So don't make it as a formal, make it as an informality. So I think research can initiate. Research can initiate this thing because research has quite a number of students who is doing research work. And make a colloquium, might be once a week or 2 weeks in a fortnight. So that will be help a lot in giving understanding to the works that you have been doing. Now join the study group if you are a social types of study. Alright, so you can share your views, okay, you can share your knowledge, so the topics can be explored by more of your colleagues and so on. So these are and also you'll be motivated during your study in the group. Okay, one thing is test yourself. How you test yourself? Write a paper. It doesn't mean that if you write a paper, you are going to publish. No. When you write a paper, at least you are establishing or you are reinforcing yourself with the knowledge that you are doing in your research work. I'm fortunate to have a few students who are very good in writing. One of my students, he graduated in 3 years. Okay, in 3 years. Hamid Nur Rahman from Iran, Hamid Nur Rahman. So he wrote 36 papers during his PhD, 3 years. During his PhD 3 years, he wrote 36 papers. And another one is Ehsan Momeni. He wrote about 28 papers during his PhD term. So others wrote about 4 or 5 papers. But these two students, they are very good in writing. Right? So you don't hope your supervisor to write for you. You write for your supervisor. The next time when you have been a supervisor, then the student will write for you. Okay? So this is how normally you test yourself in understanding the knowledge. So another thing is the connect what you know to concept you are trying to learn. Alright, so maybe we are using analogy so that we can, it depends on you, what type of research you are doing. So it depends, like we might have abbreviations to understand the terms in our research work. So such as example for mathematics, you have BODMAS, which is bracket of division, multiplication, addition and subtraction using in mathematics to solve complex mathematical problems. So these are some of the things. Some like I think I remember until now what is the color of the rainbow. So we use short term video, violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, and then orange, red, and video, red. So that is the color sequence of the rainbow. I think I remember it since my school years until now. So another thing is using a flashcard. What is a flashcard? I didn't bring the example of my flashcard. It was already about 30 years ago. Flashcard, now you have OneNote. You have what you have. Flashcard, you have OneNote. Now computer, you have whatever things. So what do you write in your flashcard? It's a card. Actually, it's a card. You write the name of the author. You write what is the conclusion of his research work. You write what is the year paper that is published, the type, topic and title of the paper, because it is very important when you do your writing, you need to have a reference. So you remember, oh, this guy is saying this thing. So according to this, this, that, then you make a comment on that. So that's what I call as a flashcard. It to flashback your memory. Right? So that is this whatever things that I told you, this is what I have been done previously. I've been done previously. So this card, what to write on the flashcard, a condensed note, diagram, findings or conclusion, methodology, and important thing is the author's name for references. Because sometimes you read your references, you can't remember who wrote this, you can't remember who said this. So you need to have your flashcard so that you can flip over and you can see what is the results or the findings of other people, especially for researchers. And I think it's take care of yourself. You need to have a good sleep, sufficient sleep, and also eat right. Don't eat Maggi all the time. I know students like Maggi because it's very cheap and easy to get. Saya dulu bisnes Maggi dekat Sabah. Maggi masa tu 30 sen, saya jual 50 sen. Sebab malam-malam kan, kedai tutup. Kan? Student nak Maggi, cari saya lah. Itu dulu lah. Sekarang ambil free je. Okay, right? So, when you do your study, okay. So, when you do sometimes people study late at night until 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's not very good. It's not that good because, you know, the best thing when your mind is free and it has a lot of ideas is between 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the morning. Right? 3 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And until now, I did that. When I do an engineering report or consultation report, I do it early in the morning. 4 o'clock in the morning, start doing, and then 7 o'clock, stop. Because there's a lot of ideas coming in. Right? At that time. Okay? So, if you sleep at 3 o'clock, and then, when are you going to wake up? The next morning. You're going to wake up on the same day. Right? You're going to wake up on the same day. You sleep 3 o'clock in the morning, you wake up at 10 or 11 or 12, it's the same day. Right? So you only sleep less than 1 day. You sleep 9 o'clock at night, you wake up 3 o'clock in the morning, you are sleeping 1 day. Right? Because after 12 o'clock, days change. Right? So you have a good sleep. Right? Okay, until now I've been through that practice. I've been through that practice. I've been sleeping at 9:30, and I wake up at 3 and start doing my work. When I go to the office 8 o'clock, I start disturbing people. I have nothing to do. I've already completed from 3 to 7. Going to the office, 2 hours, pandang buntut, keluar. Right. So that's how that's how I work actually. So I don't know whether you have been doing this. You know my friend Professor Ibrahim Kumo, Dr. Ibrahim Kumo. I asked him how he's at the age of 75. I asked him how you keep staying younger. You stay young at this age, fit and young. He said he wake up at 3:30, 4 o'clock doing his work. Until 9, he go to the office, start disturbing people. So I do the same thing. I start disturbing people. Okay? And sometimes people get curious. When did I do my work? I'm not at the office all the time. Maybe 2-3 hours and then hilang. But I did my work at that time. Takkanlah saya nak cari orang, aku bangun pukul 3 pagi, buat kerja. Tak ada lah kan. So nobody knows about that. Alright, so this is how. And you stay young. You stay young. Tapi saya tak rasa lah macam saya muda pun. Kan? At my age kan. Tapi masih lah gigi masih ada penuh. Kan? Cuma janggut je putih, rambut tak. Rambut hilang. Rambut hilang biasalah. Cukup bantat. Dia hidup kan. Cukup bantat lah. Kan? Macam budak kecil, bagi cukup bantat hilang rambut belakang. Orang tu gitu kan. Bagi tidur tak kerja kan. Rambut hilang. Okay. Alright. So, that is the process of learning. So, now, you get the most from your study. What do you get the most from your study? Okay. Now, you want quality or you want quantity? Okay? Apa yang kita nak? If you want, you can see that you need to have a very optimum quality and quantity. So, you need to have a high quality, a high quantity. So, at this point, this is your bullseye. Okay? Now, definition of graduate on time. PhD, not more than 3.5 years, full-time, not more than 6 years for part-time, PhD. Master by research, not more than 2 years, full-time, not more than 3 years, part-time. Okay, this is your target. Your end in mind, your target. You should finish at this time. So if you exceed, something wrong lah. Something wrong with your supervisor or something wrong with you. And normally something wrong with you lah, not with the supervisor. Supervisor tak care. Oh, who cares kan? Bulan gaji masuk. You lah student. So if you cannot chase with this time, if you don't have this to end at your mind, so how can you graduate on time? Okay. Now this is 10 years graduate statistic from my faculty, Fakulti Kejuruteraan Awam. After that it changed to Sekolah Kejuruteraan Awam. Now it changed back to Fakulti Kejuruteraan Awam. Very undecisive. Now graduate with PhD on time. So that one is GOT. 208, 209, 201, 213, 2015, 216, 2018. 411. This is my student. This is my student. This is two of my student. This one and this one. This one I think dua orang ini. And this 2016. Tak tahu lupa. But this one 2018. 2 is my student. 1 is the lady student who is a lecturer at UFB. Okay, graduate on time. This one another 2. Another one is one of my students is being awarded anugerah Net Chancellor, PhD. He did 2 years 8 months. So the fastest, yang 2008, I got one 2002. Saya tak masuk ni 2008. I got one 2002. He graduate 2 years 4 months. Professor Pratik So. He is now postgraduate studies in Unisula, Universiti Islam Sultan Agong. That one was the fastest one, 2 years 4 months. Why? Kenapa? Kenapa dia habis belajar cepat 2 years 4 months? How he did that in 2 years 4 months? Sebab rumah dia masuk pencuri. His house is broken by a thief. His wife has been tied. It was in Indonesia. It was in Indonesia. So itu yang jadikan dia sebagai kunci untuk buat kerja cepat. So I said to him, Pak Pratik, at work secepat mungkin. So pukul 3 pagi saya teman dia dekat lab, masuk dalam tung buat kerja. So he complete within 6 months. So I told him, okay Pak Pratik, you go back to Indonesia, take care of your family, but you do your analysis there. So saya pula pergi sana, tengok dia buat kerja. So just to safeguard him. So within 2 years, 3 months, this complete, they submit, and then that's it. So that is the fastest record, 2 years 4 months. So sometimes things like this, you can motivate the student to complete fast, right? Okay. Ada satu student, it was 216. Dia nak kahwin. He's doing PhD, Iranian student. You know what? Selagi dia tak pass PhD, family dia tak bagi dia kahwin. He told me that I cannot marry until I get a PhD. So I'm not going to marry. You are going to marry. You have to complete your PhD first. You want me to chase you? So dia nak kahwin cepat. Saya bagi motivate lah. Saya cakap wife dia buat arkitek dekat wife dia dulu buat arkitek, PhD arkitek dekat UM. Saya tukang api-api lah, tukang batu api lah. You know, your girlfriend is very beautiful. Anybody in UM can tackle her. Betul kan? Oh, dia dah takut. Memang cantik pun, pasti kan. Rambut keting-keting gitu kan. Macam cerita apa tu? Kan ada cerita kartun tu kan, yang rambut merah yang jadi beruang tu kan. Brave. Brave. Itu lah rambut dia. Oh, merah, cantik kan. Kadang-kadang mata ni jahat juga kan. Tengok girlfriend orang ni. Kan, dia cakap dengan dia, apa dengan dia kan? Oh, dia member dah takut. Jadi cepat laju dia buat. Habis, complete. 3 years. Lepas tu kahwin pun tak jemput saya. Mari nak kahwin kan, nyayur sebabkan PhD dah clear PhD, kahwin pun tak jemput. Tak ada orang kahwin je. Ini nak jemput, itulah kan nasib supervisor. Lalu dilupakan studio. Okay, effective time management start with clear vision and goals. So this is very important. We don't work forward, we work backwards. Kalau masalah time, if it's something to do with time, we have to work backwards. We cannot move forward. Because we move forward, we don't know where is their end. We move backwards. Okay, when we do right things, so if you want to be productive, doing right things, so this is ineffective, doing things wrong, inconsiderate, and doing wrong things that is inefficient. So this is when you do things right and doing the right things, so this is productive. Okay? So you have to do things right, and you have to do right things. Time management is very, very important. I've already mentioned it so many times to the student. Time is very important. You have to work backwards with time. You cannot work forward. Let's say if we have an assignment to send next week, we cannot work from today to next week what we are going to do. We have to work from the weeks that we're going to submit. Start now. Where are we now? How long we can start and how long we can finish our work? So if you think that you can finish on time, so at least you can schedule something. So if you start from now, we don't know what's going to happen during along the way. So time management is very crucial. One thing is the time is limited. You have 3 years, you have 4 years. Don't think about your maximum time. Think about your minimum time. If you think about your maximum time, susah lah. You feel very easy. And then accomplish more with less effort. How you want to accomplish more, to get more but less effort. Okay, so improve decision, make ability, and then become more successful. Then learning opportunities are everywhere. Reduce stress. Free time is necessary. And one thing is that self-discipline is valuable. You have to self-discipline yourself. So kalau kita tak ada self-discipline, that's it. You don't talk anything about time. Now this is the vicious cycle. Procrastinating. You delay your work. When you delay your work, you start, this is what we call as procrastinating. Then we start backlogging. We start backlogging of our work. Now these are the things you have to look back. So why you are so late of graduating? So it might be that you are procrastinating. You delay something. Example, you stay up late because you didn't do anything productive all day, and then you don't do anything all day because you stay up too late. And then you stay up even later to make it up. And then you get even less done, you stay up even later, the whole all-nighter crash, and then you set back. So that is procrastinating. Okay, now this is planning your time. So you have to work backward, not from here to here. Not from here to here. From here to here. This is your time limitation. Now I tell you, this is the main thing on my board. When I did my PhD, this is the main thing on my board. Put it on my board. Now I start from here to here. Okay. Now you have to make the promise. This is my time. So whenever things I did, okay, I'm going to graduate in 3 years' time. So I start going backward until I reach up to the identified research. Okay. So it cannot be any longer than that. Now when we work forward. Okay, we work forward. Now you are identifying your research in September. You have to identify your research work by September. If you exceed this September, you are lagging of all this time. So once you start to accumulate your lagging, then everything will start to accumulate. Right? Okay? Now, let's say, if you have extension of time, now let's say now you are you are extending your time. Where are you? Where are you supposed to be? Okay? Where are you and where are you supposed to be? So if you have already exceeded this, you have to recalibrate the time. Where you should be, let's say in February, you should already be here, data analysis, right first draft. But you have already here, but you still writing a research proposal. Okay? Now, what is happening here? Don't blame your supervisor. Blame yourself. Because when you point at your supervisor, 3 finger point at you. Okay? Oh, this is because of my supervisor. He asked me to do this. He asked me to do that. Blah, 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 blah. Apa semua. And then, you start blaming people. We are very good at blaming people. But not blame ourselves. Okay. Now, once you have looked at your time, now if you are supposed to be here, but you have already been here, then you have to revamp all your schedules and make your new target. And then start working out. So I'll show you how. One thing is respect with time. So we have to respect with time. Okay? Janji pukul 10, datang pukul 12. Kan? Saya cakap dengan, I've already talked to my student. Banyak saya cakap student. Manusia yang paling dipercayai pertama ni medical doctor. Because medical doctor ni, bila dia cakap apa je kat kita, kita percaya. Kata kita ni sihat-sihat ni kan, pergi jumpa doktor, saya nak check apa semua, doktor pun tengok. Oh, you ni kena kanser tahap 4, terus tu duduk. Kan? Tak ada lah, mana tak ada. Terus tu duduk. Ya ke doktor? Bila? Kita tanya bila, padahal dia salah baca orang punya x-ray. Kan? Ibu kita pula yang kena. Kita tu duduk. Itu yang pertama, yang boleh percaya. Kan? Yang kedua, cikgu. Orang percaya cikgu yang kedua. Sebab apa orang percaya cikgu yang kedua? Tengok anak kita. Wah, hari ni cikgu suruh pakai kasut hitam lah. Apa sebab pula cikgu suruh pakai kasut hitam? Entah, kata cikgu hari ni suruh pakai kasut hitam. Semua kena pakai kasut hitam. Dia percaya cakap cikgu dia suruh pakai kasut hitam. Dia cakap, alah cikgu ni cakap je pakai kasut hitam. Suruh pakai pun. Tak ada kan? Dia paksa ni kita malam tu, kedai tutup, kena pergi beli. Ketuk kedai, beli kasut hitam. Sebab anak nak pakai. Kan? Saya tengok profesor yang keempat. Profesor yang keempat, itu saya lupa. Yang keempat boleh dipercayai. Sebab saya kata kenapa yang keempat? Sebab bila kita cakap dengan student, hari ni kelas start pukul 11. Kita masuk pukul 11, 11.30 dia datang. Dia tak percaya kita cakap pukul 11. Kan? Ada tak? Siapa yang rasa macam itu? Masa kan? Kita cakap dengan student, okay, today class will start at 11. Kita masuk pukul 11, student pun tak ada lagi. Pukul 11.30 pun datang. Dia tak percaya cakap kita kelas pukul 11. Kan? Tak tahu macam mana lagi nak bagi dia percaya cakap. Right? So, that is respect with time. Respect with time. Okay? Kepercayaan. So, itu yang saya kata, what is the closest with us and yet too far is time. Once you miss out 1 hour, you cannot gain back 1 hour. It's very close, 1 hour. 1 minute, it's very close, 1 minute. But you cannot gain back your 1 minute. Okay? So every attempt to be on time and always well prepared. So when you start switching your computer or going to the laboratory, are you well prepared and what to do? Buka aja komputer, kita tahu tak apa nak buat. Masuk aja lab, do you know what we are going to do today? Buka komputer, tengok Facebook dulu. Kan? YouTube dulu. Update hari ni saya makan nasi lemak pagi, kerap ambil update. You're wasting a lot of your time. So at least you know, oh, I'm going to analyze something today. You buka Excel, okay, you analyze this. That's it. Kan? You open your computer, Facebook dulu. Satu lagi, WhatsApp mesti letak tepi. Nanti kan ada member masuk kan, senang nak chat. Okay, now Most of our time are wasted and thinking what to do today. So it shows that we have a lot of time. Tak apa, banyak masa lagi, petang buat. So late will make your time not retrievable, and you have to consume other available time to replace it. So be always on time. Because once you have orang kata late with time, so it's very difficult to retrieve. Alright? So how to work efficiently with time? So our schedule yang saya tunjuk tadi, where I show you just now, the schedule, that is our guidance. That is our guidance. Now we follow the schedule without compromise. So that's why I told you, self-discipline is very important. Okay, self-discipline is very important. It's about how you schedule your time. Okay, and persistent with your time. Okay, so schedule guide to your priority. Your objective is your target. So your main aim to reach your target. Schedule is the past, and you cannot recoup whatever late, and you have to work hard to pay for lost time. Okay, so this is error and effort, apa semua tu. So this is with wrong tools, then we have no result. Now, how to manage? How to manage time? So one thing is that we prioritize our work. If you don't know how to prioritize your work, habis. That's it. You know what you are going to do today. What is your priority today? Okay. So when you do your scheduling, now you look at your priority. Okay, this one dah lambat ni. This one has already late. So you have to find what is less priority in your schedule. Take that time, cover it. Then you can shorten your time for the one which is less priority. Okay, so it's something like that. You know what is your priority. Okay, so you can cater your time. Ambil masa itu. So for those who are already a bit late, you have to reschedule your time. You have to anticipate when you are going to finish, and then you have to look back. What is your fault in there? You have to recover back. So that is very important. Okay, so find dedicated study place, create blogs, schedule activities. So use helpful resources, join group study, and so on. Okay, using the management to improve study skill, from macro to micro, which means from macro, from big or longer time, prepare a term calendar, then prepare a weekly schedule, then prepare a daily schedule. From macro to micro. So you know what is this time. So that's why time planning is very important. Okay? So I didn't see any student having a time planning. They have a schedule just for submission untuk proposal. Itu saja. Lepas tu lupa. Now that schedule, no. Your room, your study room, that is your schedule. That is your time for you to study. That is your time for you to study. No matter you study ke, you buat kerja ke apa, that is your schedule. Ni kena habis sebelum ni. Ni kena habis sebelum ni. So you know where is your priority. Okay. Now how to recover time? Macam mana you nak recover back the lost time? Don't change anything. Keep honest track of your time. So keep track on how you spend your day in how many minutes increments. Recover time according to have severe it is. So what I did when I learned, when I did my postgraduate study, okay, I have a board. I'm putting my schedule on the board. Every morning, bila saya datang, saya akan tengok where I am now. Macam kita lah pergi market, where are you? You are here. Di mana? Sana. Hello, ke sini. Jalan. Kan tak habis masa kalau daripada mencari keliling kan? Sama juga. Where are you? You are here. Where you should be? Or you should be here. Tapi where are you now? You are here. Oh, ada 2 minggu free. Cuti. Kan? Kalau tak nak cuti, tak apa. Proceed. Then you can shorten your time. Kan? Ini saya ni, I'm just like burning an iron tau sekarang ni. I'm burning an iron. Hot. Masih panas. So balik ni semangat ni. Balik keluarkan kena hujan sejuk. Habis. So saya tanya Pronan, berapa orang dah graduate? Tak ada. Look at your daily list with an honest mind and open heart. So is there any patterns? So why do you procrastinate? Why do you delay? And then lessen your time to add to priority activity. Whatever things that you have left behind, okay, you don't think it as a loss. Maybe a loss of time, tapi you take it as a priority, you put back on that. Okay, I've done this and it works. Well, I've done it. I'm not talking based from theoretical. I'm talking from my experience. It works. And I did it to my student and it works. Provided that you have your self-discipline and you respect your time. That's it. Because when you respect your time, people will know where you are. Umpama contoh saya, if I were to make a promise 9:30 to come, I always make my promise 9:30 to come, or earlier. But when I'm late a bit. Let's say it's 9:40, I didn't show up. Now people will start calling me. Where are you? Because they're worried. What happened to me? You see? So these are things. Because sometimes if you don't keep up with your time, you're always late on appointment or whatever things. Then people, ni janji pukul 10, 11 kan boleh datang. So people think like that. Who knows? 11 o'clock what happened to you and nobody cares. Oh, ini biasa lah, tak pernah datang. So now, although it's commit to recovering, commit to recovering sometimes in at least one aspect of our life, then although it may be tempting to make a complete overhaul, sometimes this backfires. We go right back to our old habits. Itu masalahnya. Kadang-kadang we try to change, but to change it takes some time. It takes some time. You cannot change drastically, because that's already your habit. Okay, but keep on changing. Keep on trying to change. Okay, so if we wrap our time, we set goals correctly, prioritize wisely, set a time limit, take breaks between tasks, and then organize ourselves, remove non-essential tasks, and then plan ahead. So these are what we have been talking so far on wrapping up time. Okay, so how to graduate on time? So those who have not achieved how to graduate on time, you rearrange back your time. Rearrange back your time. Okay, try to reschedule what have left and what you have lost your time and make it a priority in your work. So as I mentioned just now, the first step is always the hardest. So your success is about attitude, your behavior, and your techniques. Set up your attitude and behavior correctly, and then techniques will follow. So it doesn't worth it if you have a very good technique but you have bad attitude and behavior. You won't follow. So that is your support of your success. So now study adjustment in high learning education. You can see that your learn. You have your formal learning. 1 credit. So it means that 1 hour per day. 3 credits, that means 3 hours per day. 4 credit, it means 4 hours per day. What is your code for your work, your research work? 4 credit, 5 credit, 6 credit. So it means that is the hour that you have to work formally per day. Reading books, discussion with supervisors, and so on. Right? Now, study learning time never go more than 8 hours per day. Okay, your study learning time, your self-learning time, never go more than 8 hours per day. Alright? If you go 8 hours per day, you get tired because the graph of what we call as the graph of exhaustion, exhaustive. So it increase after 3 hours, it come down. So that's why when the class is more than 3 hours, the people won't focus anymore. So 3 hours is the best. So have we reached 3 hours? 2 hours. So it's still on. Now break your hibernating period. So this hibernating is very important for you to crack your problem. Hibernating can be anything. You pergi tengok wayang ke, you do something which is out of your normal work. Let's say you do your research, go away from that. Okay, you can read books ke, something about politics ke, kalau perempuan mingguan wanita ke apa benda ke, semua kan. But don't read books anything about your work. That is hibernate. Organize your timetable. plan your timetable well for your private studies, and then learn to use in the most efficient way. And the most important thing is istiqomah, persistent. Kan? Banyak ustaz-ustaz cakap istiqomah. Itulah persistent. Kalau buat sesuatu tu persistent. Tapi kalau jahat, jangan buat jahat persistent. Kan? Buat baik tu persistent. Kalau dah jahat, saya persistent dengan kejahatan saya. Itu memang hantu. Kan? Okay, now set your objective. Set your objective target. Begin with an in mind, as saya cakap tadi. Work backwards and meet your objective. Most important question to ask yourself: how long it will reasonably take, or please to stick with it. So any changes that affect our timeline, so realign. Kita realign balik, and then anticipate where you will work. Okay, so you have postgraduate room to work with, you have laboratory to work with, at home you can work, and so on. So these are the things. Ada yang orang boleh belajar kat library, tapi saya daripada dulu memang tak boleh belajar kat library. Because dulu saya tak ada girlfriend. Orang belajar kat library yang ada girlfriend, yang ada boyfriend. Kan? Pergi tengok couple sana, tengok couple sini, kita study seorang solo. Stress aku. Kan? Balik rumah lah study. So I never learn at library. Tak pernah belajar. Sebab zaman-zaman dulu kan, masa belajar tu tak ada orang nak pun. Masa tu zaman dulu rambut boleh panjang kan. Saya rambut kerinting bukan mayang panjang sampai sini. Siapa nak kan, buruk kering kan. Bisa rokok lagi apa benda semua kan. Duit tak ada lah tu. Bawa awet bagi 2, beli tiket. Mana ada duit kat belanja? Kan? Tak ada romantik lah dulu lah. Okay. Itu sebab saya tak suka library. Tempat-tempat yang couple ni saya tak suka. Saya stres. Okay, now have priority. Kalau kita tak tahu priority, if you don't know our priority, then that's it. Kita tak tahu keutamaan kita. We don't know what is our priority. Kan? Now you look at your priority, then you know. Now this have to solve first. Itu sebab saya kata planning, scheduling tu is very important. Right? When you plan something, you know the time is right. Now that is your priority. So kalau if you have lost your time, make your time loss tu is your priority. How to chase back and to put it back on the right track. So kalau you keep on going, tak boleh, because schedule is one after another. Sometimes you can do 2 works. Sometimes you have to do one after another. So you have to look at. Bila you ada benda tu, plan out tu, then you know where you are. Sekarang ni kalau you buat research without any schedule, punya reference, where are you now? You don't know. Bila nak grad pun tak tahu. Bila grad? Tahun depan tu dia punya time registration. Kan? Tapi sendiri nak grad pun tak tahu bila. You bila grad? I grad 2024. Pasal? Sebab dalam surat tulis tarikh habis 28/10/2024. Habis 2024. Tanya literature buat setakat mana? Kena cari lagi ni lah. Susah mimpi lah. Saya silap 2034. So some work can be done simultaneously. I told you. Then some work need to be done successively. Okay. So we put our priority as a vital. So you need to know what is our priority. Then we plan to use up all our time. If we don't have priority, then our time is not effective. Right? So those who fail to plan is planning to fail. So when we told nobody is too busy, it's just a matter of priorities. So saya kadang-kadang I cannot accept student, especially I cannot accept student. Sorry, I cannot submit my assignment because I'm a bit busy. So if you don't busy, don't learn lah. So what is your priority? Priority dia kerja dia have to ni lah. Then priority, make it priority lah. Don't learn. You come here not to say that I'm busy. You come here because you plan that you can do your study and give a priority. Itu saja. So this is time. Sometimes I got a student who cannot submit on time Saya cakap dengan dia, kalau tender habis, tender any project habis Khamis pukul 12, submit last tender. If you submit 12:15, will they accept your tender? No. Right? So my tender also submit this time. So more than that, tak boleh. Kalau tak boleh lah, kena surcharge lah. Tolak bangkang. Okay? So that is the thing. So I am very annoyed when people say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm busy today, I cannot come and meet you. Oh, don't talk to your supervisor that you are busy. I will advise them. If they say, if you say that you are busy to them, and I ask them to terminate, that's it. Final. Because when you say you are busy, it means that we are not the priority. We are trying to give you a degree, and then you say that you are very busy for us. So I'm very busy to make you pass. So that's it. So we have to mutually respect that. Okay? Alright. Now, there's no such thing as not having enough time. Everybody is given 24 hours per day. I have my 24 hours, you have your 24 hours. Nobody is having 28 hours a day, 30 hours a day. No, you have 24 hours a day. 8 hours for working, 8 hours for rest, and then 8 hours for apa? Kita punya ibadah lah. Kita punya ibadah ni macam-macam lah. Can be formal, can be informal, ibadah kita ni. So this is 8 hours divided by 3. 8 hours for working, you work for 8 hours. 8 hours for resting, tidur 8 jam. Resting can be everything, resting your mind, everything, you need the rest. 8 hours ibadah macam-macam. You help people, or you do whatever works which is good for people and so on. So ini je masa yang kita ada. So there's only what you make as a priority. So priority you sekarang apa? You want to do a postgraduate study, 8 hours of working, do your work. Ini tak 2 hours working, do your work, other hour tak merapu tak apa-apa. Kan? You cannot do that. Okay? So now, how to crack a problem? This is ini yang saya buat lah. How to crack my problems. I don't know how you crack a problem, but this is how I crack my problem. So the first thing is that I identify and segregate the problems. Okay, if we have problems with our research work, we segregate. Try to segregate your problem. Satu problem with your supervisor, itu segregate, tolak tepi. Problem with your work, tolak tepi. Jangan segregate with problem with supervisor, you problem dengan you punya kerja. You mix up everything. Try to segregate. Okay, your supervisor mengajuk dengan you. Sebab apa? Sebab janji jumpa pukul 3, tak datang. Dia jumpa pukul 4, apa semua. Dia mengajuk dengan you. Pergilah pujuk dia, ajaklah pergi kedai kopi ke, makan asam pedas ke, apa benda kan. Hilanglah mengajuk dia. Kan? Supervisor is also human being. Kan? They are not machine. Right? Segregate. Now, your problem with your work. Tengoklah, what is the problem with your work? You delay because of what? Solve that problem. So, you identify and segregate that problem. So, once you solve the problem, if you don't solve the problem, if you cannot solve the problem, start hibernate. What is hibernate? Hibernate, you boleh tidur, you boleh baca buku, you boleh buat apa, you boleh bersembang, but don't think about your problems. Try to hibernate because it's going to connect with your problem later on. Pernah tengok National Geographic tak? How they communicate, how they connect. Tajuk dia connected. How they connect the problem with dia punya nothing to do with the problem. They connect the problem. So that's how I get hibernate. So once you hibernate, you are resetting your mind. You are resetting your mind. And then you have the ideas of how to solve the problem. Now if you solve the problem, then Eureka. You got it. I've got it. Eureka ni ayat Archimedes yang terkenal lah, ayat Archimedes. Sebab apa dia buat study on buoyancy? Dia tengok weight of volume of water that displaced is equivalent to the weight of the body. Dia dalam kolam, dia dalam bathtub, Dia tak pakai baju, tak ada apa. Dia keluar lagi kat jalan, Eureka dengan kelenjar. That's it, Eureka. So that's how we solve the problems. So how we crack the problems and how we solve the problems. So how to deliver your result on time. This is how you deliver your result on time. So plan what you are going to report. Plan what you are going to write. Saya biasanya the first day of the first semester of my students, normally saya suruh dia plan what to write. Saya suruh dia bagi apa benda schedule yang dia nak tulis. So you tahu apa yang nak buat pagi. So you have abstract, literature, discussion, result, conclusion, methods, introduction and so on. So these are the jigsaw of your writings. Okay. So when we write, we have to clearly deliver our message. So kita punya message have to write at the end of our fingers. Nobody knows what we thought. Now we write like a readers, not write like a writers. Sebab banyak thesis yang saya baca, kadang-kadang benda ni saya tak faham. Sebab apa? Mungkin the writer understand what he want to mention because he seen it. He knows what is it. Tapi kita baca, we don't know. We haven't seen anything. So, if you want to write, make sure you write like a reader. Bukan writer. Like a reader. You think like a reader. Mungkin orang tak faham apa yang kita explain benda ni kan. Kalau macam kata dekat Indo ni kan, dia suka pakai ayat singkat-singkat. Kan? Dia faham. Dia sama dia faham. Tapi kita tak faham. Tapi dia cakap dengan kita ayat singkat-singkat. Bila saya tanya kawan tu, ni kerja apa pak? Dia kata kerjanya Palu Mugadah. Palu Mugadah. Apa lu mau gua ada? Kesingkat dia, apa lu mau gua ada. Palu Mugadah. Jadi kerja macam-macam lah. Apa cakap je semua dia ada. Kalau tanya bini dia, isterinya kerja apa? Dia katanya CEO PT Jarum pokok kretek Jarum kan, PT Jarum, CEO jaga rumah, isteri housewife. CEO lah tu. Short form. Now what should be inside your results? So in many form, graphical, trend, interview, photograph and so on lah. So result should reflect the genuinity of your works. So this result should answer your question and conclusion should answer your objective. So some problems are not researchable. So some problems sometimes is not researchable. Okay, so we have to identify that. Okay, most important is presentation of result, easy and understandable. Make your data, don't make our data too congested. So engineering, normally trending is very important rather than the numbers. Trending itu very important. Saya tak tengok number kan, trending. Tapi kalau number dia besar, Y is big, then you have to answer that. Okay. So how to discuss your result? So discussion should be genuine. Okay. So we normally compare with others. We compare. So never translate our result without any critical comment. So critical comment, this is your part for your postgraduate. So dalam postgraduate ni you have to have a critical comment. Macam mana kita nak comment? Now to have a critical comment ni is innate creativity. Actually, innate creativity. Okay. So kalau kita tak kreatif, if we are not creative, then it's very difficult for us to give critical comment. Okay, and then from there, give the key result and guide the readers to it. So what is our result? So we present our result in many forms such as tables, figure, trending, which shows the dominant factors. Itu saya kata, bila kita buat, when we do our research, we do Buckingham theorem. Buckingham theorem will identify the dominant factors. Okay? So let's say kita buat, contoh kita buat research something with with the effect of with the effect of loading on on stress ataupun stress distribution or whatever things. The effect of loading. So the dominant factors is the loading. The function X tu is loading. Now what is the function Y? Now, what induce the loading to the stress effect? Unit, weight, masuk je lah apa benda semua. It doesn't matter because that is your assumption. You can put any assumption, but bear in mind, you have to justify why you put this assumption. Jangan, if you put that assumption and people ask you, I don't know, I think I like it. I think I like to fail you. That's my answer. Okay, so that is the dominant factor. So that's why when you do modeling, when you do physical testing, the first thing that I will ask is, do you know what is your what is the Buckingham theorem? Buckingham Palace. You tengok, you Google Buckingham theorem, you baca. For all those physical modeling research student, you do or you read Buckingham theorem. That is the fundamental of modeling. Put your you punya dimensional analysis apa semua, because when we plot a graph, normally we will plot dimensionlessly. We put dimensionless. Why dimensionless? Because we don't want stress to give an effect on our results. We are assuming that prototype, the models is behaving like prototype. Contohnya, this is on geotechnical. I'm sorry because I'm very sound in geotechnical modeling. So if the student does not know about Buckingham theorem, then I know his work is based on trial and error. So he or she is wasting his time. It's not to say wrong, but you are wasting your time. Okay? You study Buckingham theorem for 3 months. You are doing trial and error for 6 months. You're wasting 3 months. Okay? So rather than you go straight into the problems, now you start to do trial and errors. So there is no trial and errors. Trial and errors ni, if you have already completed your PhD, you do your research work, with time unlimited, then you have trial and error. It's just like E is equal to MC squared. It takes 24 years for Einstein to prove his theory. After he died, then other people prove his theory. Kalau katalah Einstein buat PhD, E is equal to MC squared, tak gerak je. He doesn't graduate on time. Right? So these are the things. So point out differences and relationship and provide information about them. And then present the contra or negative result. So agree or disagree or agree to disagree. So sometimes examiners, dia tak tanya yang whatever things complicated what you have been done so far. They will ask only fundamentals. If you select the fundamental, that's it. You will be like in a hot water bath. Okay. Tanya Prof. Anand, masa saya Viva dia dulu, apa saya tanya dia? Mana Prof. Anand? Dah lagi. Yanti, tanya dia. Dr. Yanti, masa saya Viva dia, apa saya tanya? Saya tanya very fundamental. Prof. Anand saya suruh dia, okay, tulis 3-phase diagram. 3-phase diagram. Tulis, menggigil masa tu sudah kan, menggigil tulis masa tu. Saya itu je, saya tu boleh jawab, that's okay. So fundamental dia okay lah, benda tu yang dia buat. So it's okay, that time. So don't think about rocket science lah. Cerita yang pelik-pelik ni semua, yang don't think about that, because that is the thing that you are the one who knows that, not examiner. Examiner dia baca sekali je, then they start asking because they don't know, they want to know, so you have to give them itulah, give them the answer. So kalau kata if you don't give them your answer, then that's it lah. Tahu kan, saya cakap nak tanya dia orang tadi. Saya tanya, bila examiner tanya, dia akan tanya fundamentals. So I ask them to ask you, what did I ask you during examiner? During the first exam masuk. Kan, saya suruh dia ambil pen, tulis kat situ. So we don't ask any, orang kata, Kalau you buat PIT, kita takkan tanya you sejarah macam mana PIT ni berlaku. Macam ini tahun berapa ni? Tahun berapa ribu tahun dulu? 10,000. Betul ke? Bukan 10,500 tahun dulu. Tak ada. Kita akan tanya aja apa komposisi dia, what is the fundamental behavior of that thing. So that is the question that we ask initially. And then we start going to your research work. So you don't worry, because when you do your research work, you are the master for that. Itu saya cakap, if you do master in geotechnic, you are master of all masters. Master G. Make sure you know what your answer. So each and every explanation on the result must have what and why. So reason to happen. So this is where your fundamentals will help you. So conclude or reading your interpretation. So when you conclude, you don't read your interpretation. So most of the students, what they did was they are reading their interpretation, not conclude their interpretation. Because in conclusion, you don't have any results coming in. You don't have numbers coming in. You don't have whatever things coming in. It's just answering your objective in a text form. That's it. No numbers. No result, no graph, no whatever things. It's concluding whatever things that have been read for the whole thing. Okay? So conclusion is the summary of your work in general. So it means that you are answering to the question. So no numerical value of graph nor the figure to be illustrated. So you restate your thesis, summarize your main point of evidence to the readers. Now avoid these phrases. Therefore, it was concluded that, which very cliche and does not help to end your work in the best light. So never use personalization, such as I, we, us. So in these works, we found out that no, it was found that. You don't found that, it's already there. It's already there. That's the behavior. You are studying the behavior. Right? So ingredient of conclusion. So these are the ingredient of conclusion. A summary of the main part of the text. A deduction made based on the main body. And then opinion of what has been discussed. Statement about limitation. And a comment about future based on what has been discussed. And implication of the work for future research. And important facts and figures, not to mention the main body. Okay? Okay, we go to the last part here, learning to answer. How you answer, understand the subject. That is very important. People will ask you A, you answer A. Never answer away from the question. The examiner expect you to be to show critical analysis in of your own works and of that the others. So that is very important. And then they will expect you to appreciate the limitation of the methods employed, the result obtained by you or by others. So we do hope that you can find everything in what you are doing. So normally we will be looking into what is the gist of your research work. What is the gist of your research work? So examiners expect you to results which will add or conflicts with previous works. And then examiners will expect you to know the major concept and research development in your subject. So not asking you about remotely related areas of your subject in detail. So finally, for today's, we looked at now study smart will help us to retain a large amount of information and learn information quickly. So we should try to understand every concept you are trying to learn and then use different materials, notes to get a thorough understanding, and then study session should include breaks and recharge of our brains, and then easier said than done. So whatever things that we do here is easier said than done, but do not wait until the end to start studying. So we never start if we don't begin with the end in our mind. So effective time management is the essence of the success. Okay, so this is a timeline. Normally what you have proposal, understanding of problems, looking for gaps, and then we start having a headache here. Collection data, planning to solve problem, selecting parameters, investigating, deduce analysis, synthesize, and then we focus on finding, write a thesis, by what, that's it, graduate on time. Okay. So our lesson begins from mistake, ended up with a victory, so we never make the same mistake twice. So once you think that you have already passing the time of graduate, so it doesn't mean it is the end of the time. So you reschedule back your time, discuss with your supervisor, reschedule the time, look at the priorities, and start doing your work. All right. So never grieve, If you have already passed your time, so you don't grieve because I should have done this, I should have done that, done that. So no more done this and done that. Whatever done is done. Okay. So never give up, right? No matter how, whether you are in the truth or not. And when you finally finish your PhD and pick up your life right where you left off, jadi don't do this. So he graduated his PhD, so he left a lot of things, so he want to recover that. Tapi dah tua, Alright, so success is like an iceberg. So what people see, this is success. What dapat PhD now? This is how people don't see, or what people don't see. Okay, the sweat, blood, and tears of doing your PhD. Alright. Okay. And finally, ini ayat yang selalu kita baca, walaupun innal insan setiap asal, okay, demi masa, mana Allah bersumpah demi masa. Witan dia tak bersumpah demi bumi ke demi apa, demi masa. Kan? Sungguhnya manusia itu dalam kerugian kecuali orang yang beriman dan beramal saleh, dan mereka pula berpesan-pesan dengan kebenaran serta berpesan-pesan dengan sabar. Saya banyak berpesan dengan orang. Graduate on time. So saya dalam, kecuali orang-orang yang sebab saya bagi berpesan-pesan, banyak saya beri talk pasal ni. Sakit perut saya buat. Okay, be passionate and enjoy whatever you do. Dedicate all for success and you can accomplish anything. Itu saya kata lah hari ni. Okay, so with that all, thank you very much. Kita sikit lah. Okay, never mind, we have a lot of time today. Any question?